So we have, I'm going to do the other half of the avocado. We're going to use the same technique. The only thing we're going to find, though, is right here. Do you guys remember that there was a little bit of a shadow on that one? Maybe if I slide this underneath. Hold on. So we can see that on the screen too. So we have a little bit of a shadow here, and we have a little bit of shadowy things here on the outside where it's changing value. It's actually changing color a lot there too. But this is a shadow area here. So I'm going to have to account for that area after I do the thing. So I need to make the puddle first. So let's do the puddle. Puddle, puddle, puddle. And I'm going to, this is just water. And now I'm going to define the outside edge with the tip of the brush. Like that. Define this inside edge with the tip of the brush, including the shadow area. I'm painting over the shadow area. Now I'm going to take my my paper and I'm going to switch it around the other way, because then I can add my use the tip of the brush on this side over here, which is what I wanted to do. That was cool. And I can also use the tip of the brush on this side right here, so that I can define where the pit is, like that. We're going to utilize the same technique as we used on the other one. We're going to start with a little bit of yellow, and we're going to add our yellow to this side over here. That's a cool deal. Yellow. And since it is, since it's a puddle, it diffuses out and pushes its way towards the edge. That's good. It's still a pretty bright yellow on those, so that's kind of cool. And then we want to take this almost all the way to the edge, right? Because the green that we have on the outside edge, there's not that much of it. Okay, so I got to get my green going here. So I'm getting a little touch of green, and then just around the edge, paint in the green like that. I'm going to bring this back over here, and it's spreading farther than I really wanted it to, but it's still in a puddle, so it's still movable. You can still take care of that. So this is kind of a wide band, huh? It kind of spread a lot. So I'm going to take this, dab off my brush so it's dry. Now I can come back here, and I can use my brush as a sponge and pull out the extra bit of green, because there's too much of it. Okay, I'm going to flip this around here, dab off my brush again on the paper towel, and pull out the extra green. Now this is pulling out a lot of the pigment that's in there, but this is supposed to be a light color anyway. Okay, and so notice it got really, really light. That's cool. That's what I wanted. Okay, now I got to get my brush into some water and just a little more yellow, and I'm going to come back in and reapply the yellow. And I can take that a little bit further out towards the edge so that I can leave the green kind of in that sort of area. Oh, you were wondering about the shadow, huh? So this is going to be a tricky part. Let's see how this works. So dark yellow is actually brown. So I'm going to experiment. I just need a little bit of brown. Okay, so I just on the top of my tray here, I had a little bit of brown here. And I need to take this, and I'm just going to take and I'm going to paint that right on the edge here, using the tip of the brush to go right up to the seed, and then just touching these areas right here where the shadow is. Like that. Notice that it spewed out for me like that. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I thought it was cool too. And so I've made that slightly darker in that area, which is nice. Now, if I think that that's too, it's not sharp enough, I'm gonna come back here, and this is once again with my brush dried out, and picking up a little bit of the extra extra pigment that's there. Now I've lightened that quite a bit too. So since I lightened that a little bit, maybe come back here and put some yellow in like this. And then that yellow will push the brown away a little bit. That's probably a little stronger than what I wanted, but here's some water, just water. So now I've created a little bit of a shadow area. You can push and pull, like I said, you can push and pull the paint just a little bit. This is some more green. I'm just going to touch some green in here, right along the edge. Tap, 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 tap. Because I needed to get a little bit more green in there. And you can do this when you're working wet into wet. This is starting to dry a little bit on the edge over here, so I'm re-wetting that area. And then tapping it in. Ooh, pretty, pretty, pretty. Since we're playing with that a little bit, I got some more brown on my brush. And I'm just going to just touch this area a little bit with the tip of my brush and deposit a little bit more brown in there. Now you'll notice that it's a little drier right now. The pigment has started to dry, so the shadow area doesn't spread quite as far, which is what I wanted. I wanted the brown to stay a little closer to home. Kind of like that. In watercolors, a lot of times it's controlling how far it spreads. Kind of like that. Now because the paper is a little drier, it doesn't spread quite as far. And that's the trick of it that I was trying to do, is trying to keep that kind of localized with those. So we do have some change of value here, and we also have a change of technically change of color, but not really, because dark yellow is actually brown. So that's kind of a cool deal. I'm wondering here if I just want to come in. This is once again with a dry brush, just around the edge of the shadow, to pick up a little bit of the pigment that might be trying to transition out too far. Kind of sculpting the shape of that shadow. I think what I'll do, I think I'll let the rest of the stuff dry. We're going to let the rest of the stuff dry. Okay?